Hi, everybody. Want to get the benefits of meditation without doing the actual meditation because it's just not your thing? I mean, who doesn't want to sleep better, understand things more easily, be less stressed, less anxiety laden, be more refreshed, have a better memory, be more content, have less of a racing mind? Totally. But meditation is hard. It's really hard. And a lot of us just aren't meditators. We either feel like we can't take that time to meditate, we don't want to put the energy in to meditate, or it just doesn't work for us for so many reasons. Today, we're talking about getting all those benefits of meditating and more without actually doing traditional meditation. This is the I Care About You podcast, and I'm Juliana J. And today I'm talking about meditation. Okay, I am not here to talk you into doing meditation because I truly believe that it is really a hard practice to start. I also truly believe that it is so incredible for your health and well-being, but I get it. I get how hard it is. Just finding the time is hard, let alone everything else that comes along with meditation, like just figuring out how to do it, knowing what to do, finding a guided meditation if you're going to do that. What kind of music would you play? It's uncomfortable. How do you keep redirecting your mind? You know, all these things. There's just so much more. Sitting for a long period of time, whatever it might be. So I get it. I used to have a terrible time trying to meditate. For one, I was unable to quiet my mind. Trying not to think about something that was weighing heavy on my mind while I was meditating just left space for other worries to creep in. So if I really worked hard at not being upset at something that happened earlier in the day while I was trying to meditate, all these other worries left a space for other worries to creep in. And I just found myself having a racing mind with tons of worry coming into play. If I concentrated on an object in my mind, I would start defining what that object was to myself, which is so lame because I already knew what it was, but I would do stuff like, oh, that's a leaf. It's green. It's oval shaped. I was defining it to myself, even though I already knew all these things. There's no reason why I had to do that, but yet my mind was just so busy. I just did that because it was uncomfortable to have a mind that wasn't thinking about anything. I never really did that. So I was never really comfortable meditating. When meditating, I would all of a sudden realize that my arm hurt or my leg hurt or my foot hurt or itched or I had a headache. It was extreme. And I couldn't sit anymore. I had to just, come out of meditation to move my foot or whatever it is that I had to do. And sitting for a long time was also impossible. I felt really uncomfortable sitting up straight. After only a few seconds, I would be, my back hurts so bad, and I just couldn't do it anymore. It was really hard. The other thing I used to do in meditation, every time I meditated, was just fall asleep. Pretty regularly, I would try to meditate and then just fall asleep. I got past that all, and now I have a really deep meditation practice that I really enjoy. I have to admit, I'm kind of a little bit addicted to meditation, but I realize how hard it is. It literally took me years to get to the place that I am now. And when I say years, I actually really mean maybe a decade, a long time to really get to a place. And leaving meditation and coming back to it and doing all kinds of things like that. And I'm in a good space now, but I get it. It's hard. And there are a lot of ways you can work the same type of thing into your life and get the same type of benefits that meditation gives you without actually committing to a traditional meditation practice or anything like that. What am I talking about then? I'm talking about small mindful exercises that you can do anytime, anywhere, and most of them will take under a minute to do. Some of them you can do for a couple minutes if you want, but really it's only a couple of minutes, and you do it a couple times during the day, and it doesn't have to be structured. You don't have to be like, I do my mindfulness exercises at 10 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and 5 o'clock every day. You can do that if you want, but you also don't have to. It can be really fluid and flowing. Okay, so here's the first one. It's just simply walking. Yep, it's just about putting one foot in front of the other. But here's the trick. Create an affirmation you say with every step. For example, Say I'm feeling like I have low self-love. Every time I lift my foot up and place it on the ground, also known as taking a step, I'll say a word such or a phrase such as I am loved. I pick up my foot. I move it forward. I put it on the ground. Loved. And then with the next step, I'll say I am loved exactly the same. And I just do that with every step that I'm taking. You can also take a step and go, I am loved. Like with each step has a word associated to it. And that's it. Say you're walking from your house to the mailbox. Concentrate on your affirmation. I am loved. Imagine that when your foot hits the ground, you are sending the words deep into the earth, like vibrations down into the earth. Repeat the affirmation for as many steps as you can before you lose interest or your mind wanders. The slower you walk, the more impact it has, and the deeper you can send your vibrations down into the ground. It helps to start with the 3-word affirmations like I am something, and then work up to longer ones. But you get used to it as you practice more. But the 3-word affirmations are much easier to remember. If you have like an 8-word affirmation, you'll kind of stumble on it, forget where you are, unless it's an affirmation you're really, really familiar with and you've been working with in other ways. So you can work up to longer affirmations or poetry or things like that, even conversations that you want to have or things like that. You just kind of do this, and it can be very short bursts, like walking to the mailbox, walking to your car, walking to the grocery store, walking from where you work to the outside and back, or whatever it is. You can just, at any particular time that you're walking, are doing a repetitive task. It doesn't even have to be walking. It could be brushing your hair. It could be anything like that that's kind of repetitive. It could be stirring something while you're making dinner or what have you. Any repetitive task like walking or running, brushing your hair, stirring a recipe, think of the affirmation and say it over and over with the rhythm of the repetitive action. And try, if other thoughts come into your mind, just realize they've come into your mind and let them go and go back to your affirmation. So that's one way, because everybody does repetitive things, whether it be walking or brushing their hair, or stirring, or anything, even watching something repetitive, such as traffic or something of that nature, or listening to something repetitive like a heartbeat or a train or something that is a repetitive noise that you have in your environment. You can do the affirmation to it. So that's the one thing, repetitive motion affirmations. And walking is just the best one. There's a lot of walking meditations out there that are really, really wonderful, but this is just something you can do quick and easy without much thought every time you do something. Another exercise you can do is to look at an object across the room from you and soften your gaze as you look at it. So it'll kind of become fuzzy around the outsides, and notice, but don't define how it changes your perspective of the object. So you're looking at the object crisp and clear, and then let your gaze go fuzzy and just notice it, but don't define it or judge it or shape it. So, for example, like say you're looking across the room at a cat, how it has fur that's shiny and some that it doesn't really have a shine, what the colors are, how from its eyes to its ear, it might have less fur than it does in other places on its body. Notice its paws and how it's holding them. His eyes, his slow blinking, are they asleep? I see the windowsill and the shadow that's casting. Notice the color. And that's it. Just in that moment, look at an object across from you and just notice it. Notice every little thing about it. It can be anything. It could be a spot on the wall and you're noticing like, oh, its shape is not uniform. It looks about the size of this or whatnot. And you're not defining it in your mind like that. You're just looking at it intently. And then let your eyes go fuzzy on it. So you're not focusing directly on it. Your eyes will go fuzzy after a while because you're focusing intently on one thing. But let your eyes kind of go a little bit out of focus and notice the difference in what you're seeing and what it looks like. It's just a moment of intense study. This might be a couple seconds, might be 60 seconds at the most. It's just a moment of intense study about something that you're seeing. And as I was saying, in my case, it's the cat that's across from me right now. I'm just noticing everything about just the cat. And then when I go fuzzy, I notice the change in perspective. And then that's it. Another exercise you can do is to look at an object across from you and just notice it for a few seconds. Then go to another object and do the same and kind of move around. Maybe you hit 3 objects. Like maybe I look at this basket that's over there for a couple of seconds and I just intensely notice the basket. And then I move my eyes and I look at a pair of sunglasses on the desk and I intensely look at the sunglasses and notice all the nuances about the sunglass. And then I move to a shell I have on the table and I look at that and then it's over. That's it. I'm not thinking about anything when I'm doing this other than the object. I'm just intensely looking at the object. And the two differences between those two are the one, you're looking at an object intensely, and then you're letting your eyes go fuzzy and you're looking at it. The other one is don't let your eyes go fuzzy and look at more than one object. Another example or simple exercise you can do is to go outside and lift your gaze to the sky. Close your eyes and simply feel the sun on your face, or the breeze, or the wind, or the cold, or the snow, or whatever it is that's out there. For a brief moment, just cast your eyes up to the sun, but close your eyes and notice the feeling on your face and what that feels like. Maybe it changes as a cloud goes by or the wind picks up. Just notice it. Then open your eyes and go on with your day. This is literally like only a couple of seconds. I do this often when I first go outside in the morning on my way to work or wherever it is I'm going. I just stop for a moment. I look up, close my eyes, I look up at the sky, or I gaze up at the sky, and then I feel what the morning feels like on my face. And then I go on with my day. You can do these same types of things with like touch or smell. Take a moment to touch something. Maybe it's soft or warm, or maybe it's slick, or maybe it's pleasing, or maybe it's rough, or maybe it's something that just seems you're drawn to touching it for whatever reason. And just notice intently what it feels like. This feels soft. Maybe it's so soft, it could almost feel down. Whatever the feeling is, just intensely feel that thing. Or maybe you work with a scent. It can be essential oils, a candle. It can be a plant, a flower, your neighbor's jasmine when it's in bloom and you can smell it from your window. Just close your eyes and smell the fresh scent. Or maybe it's a scented candle or something like that. Just close your eyes and enjoy the aroma. Maybe it's clean laundry. Maybe it's just your bedroom. Maybe it's dirt. A lot of people like to smell dirt. Maybe you're just smelling that and just intensely smell it for a couple of seconds and that's it. And then go on your way. But while you're doing any of these, all of your attention is on what you're doing, whether it's taking the steps or a rhythmic movement, whether it's looking at something across the room from you, whether it's touching something or smelling something or using your other senses to really experience something. You're experiencing it all the way. Everything you have is in that moment of experience. And then go on with your day. And all this only a couple seconds. The final exercise to get some of the benefits of meditating without the commitment of a long practice is to simply lay on your bed and stare at the ceiling. Yep. You heard me right. Lay on your bed and stare at the ceiling. Before you go to bed at night, take a few minutes to lie on your back and stare at the ceiling. As you do this, do you notice any sounds? Is there a car driving? Do you hear a neighbor talking? Maybe a dog? Maybe your own heartbeat? Notice the sound. Notice how the sound is there. And then it leaves. And then another sound comes in. And then it leaves. And then another sound takes its place. Listen with all your might, but don't label any of it because, again, Your mind already knows what the labels are. You don't need to tell yourself they are. All you need to do is just lay there and notice it when it happens. Maybe you're feeling like, wow, there's almost no sound at all. And then listen really deeply. Is there some sound somewhere you can pick up? And listen to the sounds with all your might. You can close your eyes or open your eyes or have a soft gaze so you're not looking at anything really. You're just listening intently. And then that's it. Each time you finish one of these mini exercises, take the time for a quick gratitude, like, thank you, sun, for that warm feeling on my face. Thank you, feet, for walking me to the mailbox. Or thank you for all the beauty that I see. Thank yourself for taking the time to do something for yourself. This leads me to daily gratitude, which is another mini exercise. Take a moment every time during the day to be thankful for 3 things, like, I'm thankful I wore the right shoes today, or I am thankful that my coworker helped me out, or I'm thankful of being able to enjoy my senses, or whatever. You don't have to write it down and keep a journal and do elaborate things or write 10 different things. You can just pick 3 things at any time of the day while you're doing anything. Maybe you're commuting, it's your time to think of 3 things. Maybe while you're waiting in line to get lunch or coffee or something, or maybe it's just sitting in the park or walking somewhere. Just take the time to be grateful for 3 things. You do not have to do any of these mini exercises for more than a few seconds. And over time, you might have a goal of working up to 30 seconds or a minute, but you don't have to. You don't have to do any of these things for a long time. Many people do the walking affirmations while running a few miles or walking long distances. But for some of us, we can get the benefits simply by doing them for a few seconds at a time, maybe a couple times a day. Consider all of these exercise as mini joyful pauses without the commitment of longer meditations. Even the gratitude. I have to admit, though, I keep a gratitude journal, and sometimes I find myself really thinking about, well, what am I going to be thankful for? What was I thankful for yesterday? Because I do mine in the morning. And sometimes it's hard. Sometimes I'll say the same things over and over again, like, oh, again, I'm thankful for coffee or whatever it might be. And it's hard to kind of come up with gratitude things all the time, especially when your mind is really busy. But just stopping and doing that, even if you say the same things over and over, it's perfectly fine. Someone gave me a tip once that if you start to get sort of stagnant in the gratitude journal or coming up with gratitude like that, because it's not just spur of the moment gratitude, like someone does something nice for you and you say, oh, thank you. That's really easy to find gratitude. But when you have to stop your process of thinking to think about what you're grateful for, sometimes you can have some blocks as to what that might be, even though you are a grateful person. You're just having little blocks trying to find something new or innovative or different than what you said yesterday or 2 weeks ago or whatnot. But it's okay to just have the same things. But yeah, my friend's advice, the advice I heard was to, if it starts to get stagnant, do something like, wow, I'm really thankful that somebody invented eyeglasses so I can see well. Not just say, I'm thankful for glasses. Say why you're thankful for them. And then it kind of opens it up into a new place. And that was true. I tried it and it was true, because I used to just make a list, thankful for these 10 things or whatever. And it was just 1 word or 2 words or a person's name. And then I started writing less things. I write 5 things I'm grateful for and why. And that's kind of opened up a new way of thinking for me now, because I've been keeping a gratitude journal for quite some time, and you want it to kind of feel fresh. So I would probably say the gratitude exercise is the longest one here, and most of the other ones are just a couple of seconds. Like walking could just be a couple of seconds. It could be a long period of time. A lot of people will do that type of meditation for a longer time, like I said, but it can just be 6 feet, 5 steps, something like that. The staring at things across from you, that can be just a couple of seconds. Taking the time to deeply feel something, or to use any of your senses to smell or touch or listen for just a few seconds. But do it very intently. All you're doing is that one thing. You can also look at something, like look at say my hand, for example, and I look deeply at my hand, every little nuance about it. I don't define it. I don't start talking about what it is to myself in my head. I just look at it and notice, and that's it. So all these mini exercises will only take a few seconds, but they're doable, and they have the same benefits of meditating over time. Just do them a couple of days a week, maybe a couple different times, like not a couple days a week. Do it a couple times a day, maybe 3 times a day, and they can be all different kinds. And you'll find that you are settling a little bit more deeply into your thinking. You have more clarity. You're calmer in your mind. You have better sleep. You have a more joyful life. So you get those benefits, and there you have it. Meditate without the challenges. Bring some joyful pauses into your life. And as always, my friends, I love you and I support you, and I will see you next time. Take good care.